welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 27-year-old that I believe is from near Glasgow, Scotland. His hockey journey has taken him to Scotland, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Sweden, Morocco, Malaysia, Maldives, Saudi Arabia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, the UAE, Italy, and England. And he is a fan of the Glasgow clan, and I guess is part of the Purple Army that didn't throw enough chocolate bars. But he is supporting them from, I believe, the disabled toilet in his current hostel, and I believe that's in New
Yeah.
Zealand. Welcome to the shed, or no, the kitchen, Rory Swankie.
Nice to meet you. Just call us Swankie.
Just Swankie? You left Rory out of it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, as much as it pains my mum, I always go by my last name. Everyone just calls me Swankie or whatever variation of Swankie they throw that way.
Yeah, that's fine. I usually go by Wally unless people want to call me Brent, but I don't feel like Brent right now.
Oh, that's only by the parents when you're in trouble, you get your full name.
Yeah, my hair doesn't look good, does it?
Nah, you give me, it's not too bad. You give me like the prodigy right now. You give me that like two blonde mohawk things. It's just a look.
Yeah, it's something. That's my under 13 boys gave me that haircut, and we got a big game Saturday, and I said that there's a few boys that missed the practice, and if we win Saturday, then the boys that miss practice, they get to finish off the deal, and then whatever's left, my daughter can clean up when we get home from the game on Saturday after a big W, right? Winning.
Oh yeah, huge stuff. That's also full commitment. Like I kind of cheat the system. I had hair similar. I had a hair transplant, so I cheat the system.
You have a hair transplant?
Yeah, I got a hair transplant like 18 months ago.
What is a hair transplant? What do you mean? Like you were bald and you got
So
hair on
like,
top? Or you...
yeah, I was losing my hair like right in the middle. So like, I'm glad I washed my hair today actually. So I was losing it right in the middle here, and
Holy
then
moly.
they basically just take the hair from the back of your head, run about here, and then make like a bunch of like different holes and like basically just like cut like lots of holes, take little follicles out, and then they cut more holes at the top of the head and then implant it at the top, and it grows back.
Um, and then so then you go from like then your hair grows back and it's the same color
Yeah,
and
pretty
like
much.
the same.
Same as everything, it's often like the back of your head. It's like when you look at old men that have like no hair on top and the crown around the side, that's like what they call their donor area, and you can pick that's where they take the hair from. Because it's
Okay.
typically where your hair is strongest.
Well, I know Deese. I don't know if you would know Deese, but Deese is my guy, the equipment guy. He got his teeth done in a different country than the UK because it was going to cost way too much in the UK. And he went somewhere to get that done. Where did you get your hair transplant done?
I got it done in England. I got it done in the south of England. It was, I know a lot of people go to Turkey for it, but I was just a bit too scared about choosing the wrong place, so I stayed in the UK. It costs a lot more money, but I live a really cheap lifestyle and I'm very good at saving, so I just saved up half my paycheck for like a good year to afford it.
So that's a question of mine then, because the way I get into how we know each other, and you were the one that wrote to me because you knew I thought it was cool where everybody's listened to the podcast, and you had a couple countries that don't show up. And I know that people have listened in Estonia, and I know that country doesn't show up. And you've listened in a couple other countries that don't show up. So I don't get it because I just found out that when you click on the computer, like the country, it'll say where in the country people listen, man. These phones are like
No,
tracking devices.
it's kind of scary. It's kind of cool, but also kind of scary. It just feels like you're getting watched in a way.
I agree. I thought it's neat for me to see it, but it's like, so you're tracking that and you're tracking everybody's phones all over the world of what they're listening to and what they're doing. It's like, that's invasive, you know, but
It's
cool,
even like,
but cool for me to know.
oh, 100%. It's even like on, I do a lot of like blogging, not so much as done recently, I'm trying to get back into it in the new year, writing like a wee like travel blog. And even when I look at like my stats and that, you can even see like if people connected from like an Android, a Samsung, an iPad. You can see like what Wi-Fi they're using sometimes. You can see if it's on a BT Wi-Fi and it's it's very invasive. You feel like you're on someone's, you just invading somebody's bubble when you're like, oh, you connected from your home internet. Like it's
No,
insane the amount
you
of stats they have.
you're right though. And I find it weird because all I did was Google how do you do a podcast? And then the first thing that popped up, I was like, okay, let's try this. And then all of a sudden we're this far into it and we're this far down the path. But like they show me so much statistics of all this stuff. And I'm like, how do you know all this stuff when all I do is record it on my work computer and drag the file over and then get back to work, you know?
It's
Weird.
honestly insane. Like there's even things like cameras. I got friends that like block their cameras on like their phones, like any device they have, because they're so worried that it's going to be just they're going to get tracked, or somebody could like maybe hack into their camera and just watch them get changed. It's technology is great, but it's also scary at the same time.
I totally agree. And then like if I say have Carl Hudson on and he talks a little French or I talk a little German or somebody talks a different language, then all of a sudden the next day my phone is giving me ads in that language and I'm like, "Whoa, I'm not French. What are you doing here?" And it's because they were listening to me talk on my computer and my phone was sitting beside it and it's like, "Whoa, I don't like this." You know?
Oh, sometimes it's fun just to hack the system and be like, sending attractive people. Oh, don't you just love attractive people? And then suddenly, oh, my phone's full of attractive people. What a time.
Right?
Gotta
And
cheat the
that's
system
what's neat
somehow.
for me is mine is the Shed family, and my phone only attracts the Shed family, and I think that's neat.
Oh no, you've got an unreal community. Your community is incredible. And
It
like
is,
you're spanning all over the world. Like I
well,
love how your
it
stories
takes
went into
everybody
like
to
the
win,
small
man.
leagues.
It takes everybody to win, and you're part of that. And when you wrote to me, it melted my heart to hear that someone was in Kyrgyzstan,
Kyrgyzstan.
and was listening to me talk to people in my shed. That's neat,
I
you
just
know?
found it cool as well. I was listening when you I don't know kind of what episode it was. I was just listening and you were going about the stats and I just thought like, okay, I've been to 44 countries. I love travel. Everyone calls me a travel wank. I just talk about travel all the time. And I was like, okay, so when can I think back, the first episode I listened I was in the Maldives at the time, standing on a bridge. And I was like, where have I been and listened to the podcast? And just figured it out. Like, okay, I was here at this time. I definitely listened to it there. I used to listen to it when I was skiing in Japan. I'm a ski instructor. I'd be like on the slope, just listening to the podcast as I'm skiing.
Were you the same person that wrote to me when I posted that Japan was on the squad and you were like, that's me skiing in Japan? Was that you?
Probably. I probably was in Japan skiing at the time.
So for me, I find this whole thing very neat because like I could do my normal job and I can live my normal life. And then I just have like this other thing going on that's like just on my device that is a tracking device. But like all this fun that's happening and like I'm not there. I'm not seeing this stuff happen. But like the messages you can get on a Tuesday at say noon when you're having a go at work and you're having a time, and then all of a sudden somebody writes something nice to you, and you're like, shit, that just made my day. And then it made me realize like being nice is nice, and you should be nice to people because you can make their day just by smiling and joking around with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the best part of the world, and I say it all the time, and I've said it just a couple of times this week in some job interviews I've had, is the best part about the world is the people and like the 2 minute interactions you get. Even if you're in a shop and you just chat to the shopkeeper about something, being a Scottish person abroad, you go and buy any sort of alcohol and they're always like, oh, you love your whiskey, you're Scottish. And I'm like, I don't know shit about whiskey because there's too many options and I get very panicky and I just drink a cider instead.
I
But
just
it's that 2 minute conversation you
I'd
have.
wet the bed, I'd fall down, my balance would be off, maybe throw up. I'm not a whiskey guy. I'm not nearly man enough for that. I know that, you know?
It's also just expensive. Like, it's really, except for like, the only time I really drank whiskey was Japan because it's just so cheap in Japan and there's like no options, so I'm less panicky. You can
Okay.
get like a 4 litre bottle of whiskey for about £25.
Well,
So yeah, it's nuts.
I need to get to know you more here because we just met. This is the funniest thing I've done in a while is my daughter just went off to gymnastics. My son's being a screen boy again. And I was going to prepare dinner, and then you wrote back to me and said, well, time change, I'm free the rest of the day and I'm in New Zealand. And I'm like, well, I don't in real life have anything that pressing that I can't talk and have fun right now, and I can make dinner later, you know? So you're in New Zealand right now. How do you have the money to go to all these places and live the life you're living? Because the countries I said, it costs a lot of money to travel places. That's why I haven't gone anywhere in a
I'm
long
just a
time,
very like a very cheap person, like a very frugal and cheap person. Everyone, I get a lot of shit for being
except for when it comes to
frugal
your hair
bastard,
then, eh?
but oh, except for the hair, but like I wasn't messing around with the hair. I was not messing around with that. I've had long hair all my life, and even after I had the transplant, I still kept my long hair, and I looked like budget Hulk Hogan for like a good 2 weeks afterwards, where I just had like a scully going on. It was not a look. But no, I'm just a very cheap person, just always saving any money I can, trying to find like a good deal. Like my sister got married in September, and I flew back to Scotland from New Zealand for the wedding. And the way I flew back is that I did to get to Scotland and back to Scotland. I did 17 flights in 15 days, and it saved me $700. It
17
was
flights
nuts.
in 17 days
In 15 days, yeah, I did
to
nine
to
flights
get
there,
from
eight flights
where?
back.
To get from New Zealand?
New Zealand back to Ayrshire, Scotland.
And now I'm starting to realize how my podcast can be listened to in so many countries. It's a small world, but like you stop at an airport, you sit down and fart and eat something, and then you throw on a pod for a second, then all of a sudden the tracking device is lit up and I'm
I
like, whoa, right?
I only count going to countries when I spend at least a day there, like, but not in the airport. Like, if you're in the airport, you're technically not really in the country. So for
Oh,
me, the one of the countries that I sent on the list, when I was in the Maldives, I had about a 28-hour layover in the Maldives on the way. So that's when I managed to like check the Maldives off the list, sort of deal. But if you're in the airport for like 2 hours, it doesn't really count
yeah.
necessarily as being the country in my eyes. I don't really
No,
like. I spent
I
18
get
hours
that,
before,
but
and
I'm just saying for when it says like well, all the countries that have listened to me, and I'm like, how does this make sense? This doesn't even make sense. I'm a small town boy from the middle of nowhere that like I leave college hockey and nobody knows who I am. And I had to do well in college for anybody to know who I was. And then like I go to Europe and the only reason is because I know a guy and I don't know anybody. And then even when my career ends, I really don't know many people. Like I knew my teams. I knew the guys I won with. And like to see what's gone on is it's like I don't even know anymore what's going on. How did you find out about the shed?
shit, literally just off Twitter. I was a bit of a Twitter person for the longest time. I've only recently got back onto Twitter. I kind of took a break because you can become a bit toxic yourself on Twitter, and I think I was kind of a bit toxic. This is coming from Twitter and then from social media, and also watching you play back in 13, 14, 14, 15 when you would light up Glasgow. Thanks for that.
You actually
Uh,
remember me playing? You remember my fat ass?
yeah, of course.
No
I'm a big
way.
hockey nerd. I spend far too much time in the day on Elite Prospects. I
Is that
spend like
right?
probably like an hour a day on it. I'm a
You
huge
got a
hockey nerd.
research team too, eh?
Oh, just me, my phone, and a lot of just spare time to kill by just reading for elite prospects and checking up on leagues. But that's still maybe playing because those Cardiff teams back then were absolutely lethal. But then I'd say it was like the peak of like my fan engagement with the clan. Like I was still in Scotland, I only just turned 18 and was only starting to like move away and start to travel. And it was my favorite to air with the clan, and like the league was just so good back then. I found that it was just
What?
very competitive. There's so many good players. It
And
was
you
just
know,
such a fun time of
but
hockey.
for me, like winning makes things happen. Winning creates buzzes. Winning makes a lot of things happen. And when I don't know anybody, if I don't win and if I'm not on winning teams, I don't keep moving up the ladder, I don't think, as a short, fat kid
Yeah,
from Elmira. But Glasgow back then in 2014, 15 and 15, 16, they were as exciting as a hockey team got. They had all the intangibles. They had tough guys, they had score guys, but their score guys were tough guys, and they had a team, and Finner had them mucking it up and playing Glasgow. was as hard as playing anybody back then. I remember that. It was them and Sheffield that when we played them, it was like, man, this is going to be intense. And same with Belfast. But
Oh yeah, like, it was my favorite clan team of all time, and just that's my favorite style of hockey to watch. Is anything just fast, physical, but still doesn't lose that skill element. Like it's just a gritty, tough team that works hard. Like I'm as a fan, like it's when you see your team lose, it obviously sucks, but you can take a loss much better if you feel like they put everything on the line, and like they may have like lost 6-4, but like they
they
just put
were
the shift in
gritty.
themselves.
I think
Yeah,
gritty's the word. I think gritty's the word. I
yeah.
think that's exactly had yeah, what it takes. And that's when you lose and you played gritty and tough and mean and you play it as good as you can, fans and players can then go to sleep at night. It's the players I got a problem with are the ones that they either score or they don't, and then you either win or you lose, and they sleep fine either way. And it's like, well, if you don't win, for me, I had a hard time sleeping after hockey either way. If I won, I wanted to have beers and talk about how much fun we had winning. And if we lost, I wanted to have a couple because I was so pissed off and I needed to be able to fall asleep.
It's the old saying, win or lose on the booze.
It's hockey. I mean,
The old saying.
I know it. It's interesting that it's an old saying because it's not that far off because hockey players need to sleep after. And I know you've traveled the world and cannabis has a different thing around the world, but for me, I was never allowed to use cannabis as a player. I was never able to because I always got drug tested in Germany and everywhere else. And now that I know more about it, and I could never sleep after hockey games, I think I would have been a better hockey player if I could have used cannabis after a game to sleep instead of win or lose, hit the booze.
Oh, 100%. I'm a huge supporter of THC weed, CBD weed becoming like legal everywhere with all the health benefits. And I think Canada's done the right thing when they made it fully legal. Because I did a working holiday visa in Canada for like 2 years. And when I first arrived in 2017, it was medicinally legal, where basically you walk in, you go to the Kensington Market in Toronto, and you just be like, "Oh, here's your sign-up card. There you go." And then when it became fully legal, it just seemed like the ultimate move. And I think the economy's gone off in a way. And like when you let a government control something, that you tax it. And I think more and more professionals are understanding now, which eventually, hopefully, in 10 years' time, hockey players can then hit a cannabis vape, have a joint, have a blunt, whatever they want after a game to then relax the muscles, relax the mind and mental clarity, and then be able to pick up and go the next day with less aches and pains and longevity of athletes. Then.
I totally agree though, because like when I mean, and I'm just being honest in my kitchen right now, is like I couldn't sleep after hockey games. I would get so into it. I would have napped for hours before. And then you get everything, the juices flowing, you muck it up like you do. And it's like, shit, I play tomorrow and I need to get to sleep. And then it's like, well, what do I do to get to sleep? And having a couple glasses of wine or say a bottle, like so you can fall asleep is not what's best for you. Um, when there's an other alternative that they make not okay, it's like this doesn't make sense. But anywho,
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And sleeping's tough anyway. Like it's so hard to get to sleep most nights. Like sleeping's tough.
I
I
I
find that your mind
I
races way more at night.
I totally sleep fine at night every night now. I just lay down and I'm out till the next day, and maybe it's because I'm so busy. I every day I'm going as full go as I can.
You're also a dad as well, so you definitely got like that tiredness hitting you in a different way than
I, I got
some
I got a few things
single
going
human
on.
from Scotland.
I got a few
Yeah, you got a
things going on.
lot on your plate. Keep yourself
I,
occupied
I
and busy. It's the main thing.
yeah, I need to stay busy. I've realized that. And what's weird for me is when I was a hockey player, I did not need to stay busy. I didn't do shit when I left practice. We'd Netflix, I'd go out for lunch, go out for dinner, Netflix. We didn't I didn't do anything. And now it's like I can't sit down. I can't stop. And It's like now setting this up. It's like this is fun. This is making my day. This is
Yeah.
so much more fun than putting on the TV and watching other people do stuff.
Oh, 100%. I did not expect this message to come through when I woke up this morning. I woke up at
Right?
I was asleep when he sent it. I sent it through like 3 in the morning in New Zealand time, and I woke up and I was like, wait, what? Like, this is happening? Oh, let's do it. Send it. Let's go.
Let's do this thing. And if you don't do things, then you haven't done them. And so you are in New Zealand. What are you doing there?
Yeah. I'm in Auckland, New Zealand right now, and I spent about the last 9 months working with kids. I've pretty much since I was 18 just working with kids and like ski instructing, outdoor camps, coaching, even like coaching roller hockey. Shout out Camp Seneca Lake, Wayne County champs. The last
Wayne
time I was there,
County
so
champions. There you go.
yeah.
Where's Wayne
And
County? That's in New Zealand?
now so I worked 7 years coaching roller hockey at this summer camp here in Pennsylvania, north northeast Pennsylvania, right on New York State, the border of New York State. Did 7 years coaching roller hockey there, and by coaching was very loosely coaching, pretty much running dodgeball sessions and occasional like scrimmages in the day and at night, or like would have like organized teams, so they'll try out would have like tryouts to play for like the 10th grade team, ninth grade team, 8th grade team for like roller hockey games, and then would play other camps in the area on like a small like league. And it was a bit annoying. It was like single elimination. Like as soon as you lose, you're actually done for the summer. But there'd also be like friendly games against other camps. And I was at a religious Jewish camp, and a lot of kids would go to like private schools in New York, where like floor hockey and ball hockey is like the biggest sport in their school, other than basketball. So like there'd be like floor hockey games against other kids.
So you go travel
And then
places.
yeah, won a couple of championships in my 7 years. It's class.
Hey, championships are what it's all about. But when you go these places, um, so you go there with not a lot with you and find a life and find something to do for the 8 to 9 months, or like, what do you do in all these places?
I pretty much just do a lot of work in holiday visas, or I get sponsored. So with ski instructing, I can now get sponsored to work in Japan every year if I wanted to. So like I just apply for different ski schools, and if I get the job with a ski school, they can sponsor my visa to work in Japan for the winter season. There's a lot of like working holiday visas, so it's basically a visa that allows you to go to a country, travel around and see it, but also then get a job as well, so you can then save up the money in these places. So I'm on a working holiday visa right now in New Zealand, and I worked the last 9 months in between like Auckland and Hamilton, right in the middle of nowhere. Like there's more sheep than people in New Zealand in general, but we had more sheep than we had humans in this area that I was living at. It was incredibly remote, and I worked there for 9 months. At a kids activity centre with some people that I knew from back home that I previously worked with, and then made the move to the city last month just to be a little bit less remote. And now I'm just well, currently I just got a job today doing a sales job, so I'm doing some sales as of next week.
But so like you're just a fart in the wind. You'll live anywhere, you'll do whatever, but like you do need to set the stuff up to travel the world. It's like to go
Yeah,
to Kyrgyzstan,
Kyrgyzstan,
Kyrgyz.
great country.
But like,
I did like a month
how do
there
you
in
end
like
up
that area.
there? How do you end up there? How do you end up in Uzbekistan?
So I was just the reason I went to like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan is that I used to always play as Kazakhstan on NHL. I'll just randomly pick Kazakhstan. I'll wear the Kazakhstan jerseys, and I've
They
been
can
on with some
play.
friends that
They just won the
yeah,
Continental Cup in Cardiff. Small
yeah.
world.
So I know it was it no I think it was Nomadistan that won it.
Yeah.
Was it Nomad or was it Nomadistan? Uh, but yeah, we I used to play as them, and at that point I was working in England in a job, and I just decided to take all my holidays off at once, and just went to Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan for 3.5 weeks. Just did about 10 days in Kazakh, about 8 days in Kyrgyz, and about 4 days in Uzbekistan. I
Well,
just
that
wanted to go there. It's a really beautiful part of the world. I highly recommend Kyrgyzstan to anyone. It's so beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Um, I don't think I've really heard about it. Really? Other than like, I think in the Borat movie they brought it up, but like, so you've gone a lot of places.
Yeah, been to
What,
44 countries. My goal is to get to 100. Goal is to get to 100 countries. That's my life goal.
dude? I I believe in you and I think you can
Thank
do
you.
it. And if that's a life goal, you should go out and do that. When it came to the countries with me talking in my shed as I raise a family and raise two kids and am a husband and work a real job, my goal talking in my shed is 100 countries, you know, and I am at 93 countries talking in my shed in the middle of nowhere in Canada, right?
Yes. Let's get it, Wally.
Right?
Get it.
I couldn't
Yes.
imagine actually going to these places. I just talk about it. You're being about it.
Yeah. I can be the advocate for you. I'll go to every country, just wear a t-shirt and be like, tails and hockey tails. Because
You
listen
know
to it.
what? It takes everybody to win. And when you're on my team and you're doing this, we got this thing.
Exactly. Reserve number 24 for me, and I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so that's neat. We got to get back to I may as well not look at my notes because I don't have any. Um,
Yeah.
you've gone to 44 countries. If you could go to one country to eat food, where are you going and what are you eating?
See, it's a tie between it'll be a toss up between Japan and Mexico. I love Mexican food, but I think if Japan
Shut
takes it,
your mouth. You're like I love Mexican food too, but like so we're talking Mexican food, not North American
yeah,
Mexican food.
yeah, nah, not North American. North American Mexican food is pretty decent, but like
It
Mexican
sure
is just
is.
next level.
Yeah. I
But
see.
Japan
I
takes the
guess
winning food.
I'm probably too big of a sissy boy when I go to Mexico. I'm probably not eating the Mexican food, and I'm still thinking North American Mexican is Mexican, right?
It's way more authentic than North America than you when it comes to like Mexican food compared to like Mexican food anywhere else in the world. You get the best stuff in North America, and it's the closest you'll get to real Mexican food compared to like
It's
Scotland.
it's true with anything we're talking about though, right? It's like I go to the store in town and buy the Danish beers, the German beers, the any beer from over there. It does not taste like it does over there. It's not the same. It's not even close to the same. And it would be the same with food. And I guess I should stop being such a P word when I go to countries and eat their food, right?
You can still be. I'm a massive picky eater, but I just try anything just for the like. It's just what you kind of have to do. I find is that whenever you go somewhere, you're gonna try the local dish, even if you're gonna hate it, and it's
Yeah,
not something you would choose to eat. It's just something. It's something. It's also an experience. Like
you got to
I've
be,
had
yeah,
beer
you got
eating
to be in
before,
it to win it. You got to do what other people do and figure out what they're about, right?
and you get to eat some like nut stuff. Like when I was in Kyrgyzstan, I went to a restaurant, and as I was waiting to get like my food delivered, they brought us over like this shot glass that looked like milk in it, and they told me it was pumice, and I was like, ah, it looks like milk. I like milk. Let's send it. Fuck it. Let's have it and try it. I took it, and it was the worst thing I've ever tasted in my entire life. It was so sour, and it was fermented mare's milk. It was awful. Like
As
I
soon
like
as
you
you
can't
say
even like stomach it.
fermented, as soon as you say the word fermented, it kind of makes me want to barf.
Oh, it's a delicacy over there. They love it. Like they sell like goat's milk, and they sell like all this type of like weird like milk and things like that in these countries and love it. I just decided not to Google what hummus was. I was like, I'm just gonna drink it first so I don't put myself off. And fuck, I wish I had Googled it. Like it was mental. Absolutely
Where was
insane.
this?
It was in Kyrgyzstan in Bishkek.
I didn't think Kyrgyzstan was gonna have good food.
The food's not too bad there. Like the only thing I really tried was a dish called plov, which is very like famous across like that Central Asia region. It's just like horse meat and carrots, pretty much.
Did you
It
say
wasn't too bad.
did you say horse meat?
Yeah, horse meat. They eat a lot of horse over there.
Horse.
Yeah, they eat a lot of horse in that part of the world. It's like the main go-to sort of meat most of the time.
Ho horse. So I thought like horses are like they're worth money, like in this area. So you wouldn't like eat your investment when they're worth that, but there I guess they're not worth the same, so you eat them because you have nothing else. I'm
I
just
think
thinking
it's just
out
a lot of
loud again.
horses, I guess.
Yeah, they
I
must
think
have
there's
a
a
lot.
lot of horses. Like they do love their horses over there. I remember watching a documentary on
Do they
Netflix. I
have
think it's
wild horses that just like they're still wild horses in the world? Is that real? Is that a thing?
honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. I remember watching a documentary on Netflix about different sports around the world, and they had one. I think it was either in Kazakh or it was in Kyrgyzstan. It was like they're on horses and they have like a dead like goat carcass, and they just essentially put in like a weird like horse version of basketball with a
Yeah.
dead goat.
Isn't
It
it
was
like
nuts.
it's almost like polo, but they're hitting a dead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
strange.
Speaking of, yeah,
But
I don't know why we're talking about this and what the hell's going on today, but this is a fun. This is
oh,
fun.
we
Fun.
love
This is
oh
fun.
we love a tangent. Tangents
Uh,
are the best. Best
So,
type of conversations, the ones that go in different directions.
so sometimes when I work from my shed, when it's lunch hour, if I don't have a chat booked, I got to get out of the house and I got to go do something. And sometimes I just drive and cruise around. But like I left and I turned right at the end of our road. And I'm driving down the road going, I love going down the roads nobody else goes down, so I see different things than other people. And I believe you're the same way that way. But
Yeah.
I look in the field, right, like right there, and there's a coyote sitting there, just sitting there looking at
Um,
my neighborhood. And I stop and I got so into it, and I'm trying to take a picture of this coyote. And then like I totally forget, like I'm driving, there's someone behind me, and I'm like, God, I'm not on like my back roads where people just leave me alone. And I thought it was so neat that like there was a coyote just sitting there, just watching the neighborhood, just looking at us. And then as soon as I stopped and he looks at me, he runs away. And like what you're doing in life, um, what the way the shed exists is no two hockey journeys are the same. Nobody
yeah.
plays on the same two teams every year and goes to the same countries, go to the same places. Um, you're doing different shit than the rest of the world, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, every lifestyle has its ups and downs, and the traveling life is just something I love and something I don't really plan on stopping at any time. I just want to keep going, get to 100, and just see the world. The world's a beautiful place, and there's so many incredible people. I've met so many incredible people around the world and seen many different things, had some weird, unique stories, and done some strange, crazy things. And now I'm in a disabled toilet talking to you in Canada. And you're technically talking to the future right now because it's currently Friday where I'm at.
It's Friday where you are.
Yeah, it's currently 11:11, make a wish, on Friday the 19th of January, AM.
So then what are you doing today?
I had like a thing, so I had a bunch of interviews this week for doing some sales jobs in the
So
city. And
you're trying to like set up shop in New Zealand because like you've been a lot of places like you like it there or what?
I love New Zealand. It's just expensive is the only downfall. Like, for example, eggs. I was in the store the other day in the supermarket and I was like, I fancied having some eggs. I haven't had eggs for a while. And it was like $10 for a pack of eight. So that's about £5, say $8 Canadian. It's insanely expensive for certain things in this country. But the country's so beautiful, it's worth it.
And that's for eggs?
Yeah, it's for eggs.
So that's what like and it's interesting for me how this is all played out. Um, I was I was really down and out when I got out of the game. I we had a house in a town we had never really lived in other than 2 summers where I was still playing for Cardiff. And then hockey comes to an abrupt end with my injury. We are officially moving to a new town for like ever. And I don't really know anybody, and my wife can't work for over a year while she gets her paperwork done. And I have no work experience. I have 2 kids, and it's all on me. And whether people know much about the UK league or Germany, you don't make that much. You don't make enough. That like when it's
Nah.
over, you have to work. And I resented the game. I hated the game so much. I hated everything about it. I hated what it had done in my life because I didn't make the money I thought I was going to. And then you get back here, and then um, you just kind of keep showing up and keep doing it. And then eventually, um, it's like in hockey. It's the same in hockey is um my friends now are the bosses. They're the supervisors, the directors. It's the same in the real world as it is in hockey, is that the people that were with me, that came up with me, um, are now the people making decisions. And maybe the people making decisions before didn't have my back, but when people know me and they're on my team, then things work out. And it's been amazing what this town has done for me. Um, and I'm very thankful for all the people that are on my team in this town, you know?
Yeah, but it's also credit to yourself as well because you're a good person and a very fun, loving, positive, easy guy to talk to. Like talking now just feels like we've already talked before, even though it's the first time we're physically talking. And like that carries you the whole way. If you got character and personality, you're just a nice person, things will come to you and people will be nice to you. If you're an arsehole, then you're gonna just have arseholes around you.
That is true though. It's like as soon as you bring that energy into the deal of being an asshole, then all of a sudden everybody's being an asshole. And it is the same in a hockey game. It's like as soon as one guy comes in as an asshole, then everybody has to be an asshole. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden fights start and line brawls start. And that is just doing it. Right?
Yeah, everyone has like their cog. Every cog in the machine needs to work a certain way for it's then the machine to work. One's out
Yeah.
of place, then the rest are out of place.
So, did you born and raised in Glasgow or where are you from?
I'm from a small town called Troon, down in Ayrshire in Scotland. I grew up there for most of my life. I moved away to a town called Dunoon when I was like 14. Big shout out to Jurgen on the drums at the clan from Dunoon, great guy. Uh, and then moved back to Ayrshire when I was 18 before I started just traveling around and just Ayrshire born and bred. Uh, Ayrshire's actually a really big hockey area. Like we're very like hockey's a big sort of well not I would say the biggest, but Ayrshire's got a good like hockey like links. Like I grew up, I started
All right.
watching the game
So
on the
how are
street and
you
grew up
such
playing.
a hockey guy though? Like you're traveling to all these remote places and you grew up in Scotland. How did you become such a hockey guy?
So my mum in the 80s was a huge hockey fan. She was a big Air Bruins fan. Like she didn't miss a home or away game for like 8 years. She used to travel on like the team bus, and she got like free tickets at one point from her dad, and then she just fell in love with it in the 80s. And then when I was born in '96, we had the Air Scottish Eagles. We had them in the old Super League, and then when I was about 2.5, 3 years old, I got taken to my first game. I got put on skates and just fell in love with it. Hockey's been my entire life as a kid. I used to get picked on in school for being such a hockey fan, like because all I talk about is hockey. Teachers would always tell me to stop mid when you'd have to write English stories, stop writing about hockey all the time. Or when I was in art, stop drawing hockey all the time. It was been a hockey nerd since I was a kid, and I grew up loving it, played it on and off. Uh, and yeah, just I got in it through my mum and my nana. My nana was a big hockey fan as well. She used to take me to games, and my mum couldn't. And then when the clan first started, me and my nana were there on day one. And then my nana stopped going, and unfortunately, she passed away 3 weeks ago. The legendary Nana Swankie sinking Jaeger bombs at Belfast away at 69. She was an icon in the early days of the clan. And
You say
yeah,
she
I
was
got into it
doing
from my nana and my
Jaeger
mum.
bombs away. I have so
My
much
nana
to
was,
say about what you all just said right now. I'm my brain's having a hard
yeah,
time. Um,
sorry, I'm a big rambler. I
no,
go off on
no,
tangents all the time.
I'm trying to figure out what to say. Was so your nan's doing Jaeger bombs at 69 on away,
Yeah,
as you say, and that is the way they say it over there, which brings back memories because um I used to do things like that with the fans away, as they would call it. We would say on
yeah,
the road here in Canada. And it does make people remember you. And her doing it at
yeah.
69, and I say shed people, no shed people. I guarantee I could have hung in there with your Gran and had a great time,
Oh,
right?
she was a shed person through and through. She was an absolute icon. We were incredibly close. Like she took me to a lot of games. My mum couldn't, and my mum's a very hard worker. She's one of the hardest working ladies in the whole world, and I absolutely adore my mum. And she would be working hard so I can then go play hockey or I can then go watch hockey. And my nana would come to in the early days of the clan when I was like 14 when the clan started, and it'd been about at that point 7 years since like the west of Scotland had like a pro hockey team. So at that point, I was just hardcore NHL and getting watching. I'm a huge Penguins fan,
Well,
huge Penguins fan.
honestly, I personally think having hockey in your area, in your community, is a big deal. When you only have like hockey in the NHL or on TV, that is not the same as going and supporting your community and going out and watching, like, say in the UK when they bring in Canadian guys, especially back then, where the Canadian guys were quite a bit better than the UK guys, which is not the same now. And you
Yeah.
got to see these guys come to your town and play hockey for your town. And then it does like bring you pride, right? And I'm starting to figure
Oh,
all this out
100%.
now that I'm getting older.
100%. Like without the hockey, like the hockey can be traced back to where I'm from in Ayrshire from like the 1920s. There's a really good book called Vegas of the Lost Rink that goes through like hockey from like the 20s all the way to the end of the Eagles in 2003. And without my mum falling in love with the game and being an absolute hardcore Air Bruins, Air Raiders fan, and then my mum's actually back. She started watching hockey again, like coming back to games when I was like 18 at the house. And she's now on the drums in Section N at Clan. So my mum's got one of the drums and she's banging away home, couple of away games when she can on the drums, just having a whale of a time. She's and
Uh, eh,
my mum
uh,
even was my coach at one point. She's such a hockey fan as well that when I was about 8 years old, she was assistant coach for my junior team.
man, like
She's a legend,
you,
absolute
you're
legend of a woman.
it sounds like it. For some reason someone's pulling my driveway. I hope they pull out. But I have so much to say about that is she sounds like an absolute legend. And I think she would fit in perfectly on the back of the old Red Army bus that I would get on with the Cardiff Devil fans. And the people on the back of that bus are legends. And what I was going to say about that is she would fit right in with them, and shed people know shed people. It takes everybody to win. You don't have to play to participate. Um, I think the people that get on buses, the fans, the people that show up on the road, the people that um, have fun doing it and are not negative and make hockey fun and are drinking on the way to the game and cheer on their team no matter the score. Um, they are what make hockey hockey. And you, sir, are what makes hockey hockey.
I appreciate that.
I realized that today driving around in my truck thinking on lunch hour, and I was like, how is this possible? How are there so many people writing and messaging me? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's just me in my shed in Kincardine, and I'm trying to figure it out. And then it was like, you know what? It's the fans that make it. It's the players are all following and watching what I'm doing, but it's the fans that like share it. It's the fans that talk to each other. It's the fans that bring the excitement. And then like when you
Yeah.
write to me about all the countries that you've listened to me, and then all of a sudden that gives me a shot of life one day when it's just a random day, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, I feel better. And fans can make you feel better when they're positive and they have your back, right?
Yeah. And like it's easy as well to be a very negative fan. Like the last couple of years I've been a very much a negative fan, but that's more just but I'm also not there, so it's a little bit different as well being a fan from far away is that my words and my sayings don't really count as much because I'm not in the trenches anymore. I'm not there home and away. I'm not up in section M singing like I used to be back in the day. But it's the fans that really what make it. And my mum, like back in the day, she was friends with all the players when she was on the team bus. Because back in like the 80s in the UK league, it was free imports only. All your team were like local guys, and it was a fully part-time league except for the imports. Your local guys would be like plumbers doing everything part-time, and it was a free import league, and the imports like carried. And if the import wasn't good enough, you'd grab another one, but she was back in like the 80s in the trenches when it was went from like because back in the UK at that time it went from like the old I can't know what it's called the Heineken League I think it was called back in the day up and then suddenly the Super League came in and it went from like three imports to the whole team is full of imports except for like maybe one or two players and but she went for the trenches and my mom was a die-hard fan for years. She's got some insane stories of like being at different ranks with the team bus and getting like police escorted out of the way,
So
having like the players protect over bags and stuff. She's got some insane good stories from the 80s.
oh, and the old school stories are the best stories.
Oh, I grew up with her like in the car, long car journeys. It'd be me and my mom. She would just tell me stories from hockey back in the day and just tell
And
me
now
lots
I
of things that
get it.
happened.
Now I get why you're listening to me is because hockey stories are different than normal stories. They
They're the
are
best
like
stories going.
they are like I didn't realize how fortunate I was while I was doing it. I was too focused on everything I was doing. I I did make a point of doing it for the boys and making the story a story, but like you don't really think about all the funny shit you were doing until
No,
you talk about it after.
it's that saying like you don't know when the good times were until you've left the good times. So like it's something that we should all do as humans is like appreciate the moment a lot more. And it's something that I've been working a lot on in therapy is kind of just living in the moment more and like appreciating and being grateful for the moment you're in right now compared to worrying about what's next or thinking so much about an end goal or the future. It's something that therapy's been teaching me well for, but it's something that I think it can relate to a lot of life as well. But being a hockey player, you're so focused on so many different aspects, and even like the fear of being an import, being in Europe, that it's still not as much as it used to be. But if you're not performing up to scratch, then you could be stuck in a foreign country, just lost your job, and you having a wife and kids. It'll be way more impactful compared to a single 26-year-old guy who's playing in I don't know, playing in the Alps League in Italy.
Well, and that's yeah, it's yeah. Again, man, you shit, man. For a guy I didn't know and a guy that just randomly messaged me, you know a lot about hockey for
I
a guy.
appreciate that. I'm just a massive hockey nerd,
Yeah,
huge
no,
nerd of the
I
game.
can tell. And the other thing you had mentioned, I forgot to say something now that I remember, is you mentioned like when you're in school, you were writing about hockey, drawing about hockey, and you were a hockey guy. And that just came up with Nesbitt, Joe Nesbitt. His brother Derek is
Yeah,
a coach in the coast, and he was a gamer, a guy I played against, and
Coast Legend. He played like
yeah,
he featured on like a Chippers video. He's a Coast Legend, like
he
years in
is.
the coast and in Atlanta, and just yeah, he
Yeah,
seemed like
but
an
like
absolute unreal like player from highlights.
he was the same. He would draw pictures and write about hockey and everything in school, and I was the same. That's what I did, and I find it a very neat community we found here where it's a lot of people that were hockey obsessed, but also like get it that it's not about the individual, it's about the game. It's about the teams and about like you can go out there and lose a game, but if you go out there and do it the right way and you all worked hard and you know, you shake the other team's hand and it's like you got to look at yourself in the mirror when you lose a game and figure out what the hell you're going to do
Yeah.
the next time.
Like what you say, losing sucks. Like, well, anyone that loves the game or has played the game is a competitive person in some way. Like, I'm a very competitive person. I kind of just channel it out into a different way. And whenever I'm getting competitive, that's when I call the persona Swank Nasty. I just become a nasty human. Like, I'm just a friendly, jolly, queer person off the when I'm not doing anything competitive. When I'm competitive, I can be an arsehole. I guess I just get into it. I just get heavy into it, and I just like I hate losing. Even like I remember once doing like training for. I was learning how to train people to be outdoor instructors, and I was getting so competitive in like just a simple game of tag. That I was even shouting to my friend near the end. I was like, if he tags me, it's homophobic, just so I could win. Just took any way I could find to win. Just any avenue. I don't care how many do it. I'm gonna try and find a way to win.
Uh,
I love a good win.
Honestly, I don't know how it all works out in the wash. I don't know how this all works out, and I also know that I don't know everything about the LBGQ whatever community. I know that I support people being themselves. I know that everybody should be themselves because when I was a hockey player, there was a lot of years I hid um how much I can be and how much fun I wanted it to be. And I just tried to play along with, let's go work out, let's go play hockey, let's go do this. And it's like, well, I actually want to make this fun. I want to make everything fun. I don't want to just do it. I want to make it bigger and better. And you did bring up the word queer. So it's Pride Week in the UK, and
Yeah,
I
excited for it. I love the Pride Week. The jerseys are also incredible. As much as I
right.
passionately hate the Five Flyers, but their jerseys for Pride Week are incredible.
Well, in Manchester, England, they better win a game this weekend, or I'm going to be flipping tables and kicking garbage cans because Zach Sullivan came on after his boyfriend wanted a crunchy. He wants a crunchy. And he's a hockey guy. Zach's a hockey
Yeah,
guy, and he has a
I literally
partner.
just finished listening to that episode. Like before you
Yeah,
came on, I just finished listening to that episode. I was in the store buying orange juice. Right, it's like you're talking about the countries. I literally just finished listening to that episode. It was my morning commute this morning. Was
well,
putting the pod
that
on.
makes it a small world. But what I was gonna say is like, well, he's a hockey guy, he's a shed guy, and I'm sure like his partner is a shed guy and a beauty. Um, it's just like if this actually happens, and if they throw crunchies all over the ice in Manchester, um, that will be neat for me. Like it really will because I think you should be yourself.
Oh, 100%.
I think I haven't been myself. I wasn't myself for a few years when I came back here. I was trying to be this business guy and this guy that's not a hockey guy. And then I realized the hockey guy um it is a better person. He's better at business. He's better at everything in life when you act like yourself, you know?
Yeah, and like you got character, and you can't teach character. You can't teach someone. You can't make somebody have a personality and have character. And I get what you're saying though, because for me, I've been doing a lot of mental health stuff for the longest time, and I've only just started to try and put more effort into actually bettering myself. And the last couple of months, I just wasn't feeling myself at all, and it's been. I mean, it may like well, to literally the start of this year, my nana passed away on Boxing Day, and I was obviously here in New Zealand, and then I was broken and just absolutely shell of a human. And it wasn't until like New Year's Eve that I just decided like fuck it, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna have fun. Even I went out myself, didn't know anyone at all. I wasn't talking to people in the hostel, and then I bumped into some people in the street, made some friends, and then started to feel more like myself again. Like the part of me that I thought was gone, and that's what it is. It's just you got to always have fun and be yourself. And I end my pop, which is my mum's dad. the greatest man I'll ever meet in my life. He's just an incredible human being. He ends every call with "be happy," and I've taken for myself is that I just say "have fun" at the end of every call because I take that from him. It's like he just tells them to be happy, and I'm like, well, tell them to have fun because if you're having fun, then everything's good. And like you learn more when you're having fun, you grow more when you're having fun, you're more yourself when you're having fun, and you can make almost anything in life fun, except for obviously filling in your taxes and funerals.
You're right. You're right. Honestly, I didn't think I was gonna talk to such a smart guy in a disabled toilet in a hostel
Uh,
in New Zealand. I honestly it's taken me a lot of time in life to figure out to be myself and just do what I got what I want to do and you know what? I don't think it's a bad thing that under 13 shaved my head because I think it's fun because I'm trying to win. I don't think it's wrong. I I don't think it's wrong to drive around on the dirt roads and see different things than other people see, and you get to see turkeys
yeah.
running around and coyotes. Um, it doing the same thing as everybody else is pretty fucking boring, you know?
Oh no, 100%. You're gonna always be yourself, and again, like you're killing it with the coaching game. Like if you're doing that for your kids, it's showing that you're teaching them to have fun. You're teaching them to sort of be yourselves, and it's something that I've learned from being with kids, like working with kids. That kids are frustrating. Like kids can be absolute bastards, but they can also be incredibly fun and hilarious. And we always call it's what I know when I worked in Canada, I worked at a camp place in Aurelia. You know, I don't know how
Yep.
far you are from Aurelia. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
worked in a camp in Aurelia, and there was the
Small
boss there
world,
was
eh?
us. Yeah, yeah. How far are you from Blue Mountain, by the way?
I'm from around Blue Mountain. That is where the Waltons come from. That where
I worked
epi
2 years
episode
at Blue Mountain, two
episode
winters
ni
there.
episode 19, Grace Walton, my great grandmother. Um, she that's where we come from, is near Blue Mountain, Collingwood, Ontario. Farm people. Um, it's interesting. I was never a farmer. I never did it, but it is in me. It's deep down in me that like I like to be away from all the hustle and bustle, you know?
Yeah, no, you're
I
either
like
pretty
to find the
personally you're
fun
not
in
really.
what's out there, you know?
Yeah, I used to live in Collingwood. Fun fact for you, I lived in Collingwood for 4 months.
Really? Yeah, that
I did
place
two
is
winters at Blue Mountain,
how
and
long ago was
then
that? That place has really exploded. I wouldn't even want to go near it
2019,
now. Yeah.
2018, 2019, I just rented a small place. I worked 2 winters at Blue. I worked at the tube park, and then I worked at the skating rink now at the top of the mountain. I worked there for 2 winters, and my last winter, I just rented a place. And you know what Shoppers is? Then like that Shoppers Drug Market is down by where Loblaws is, not far from the bus
I don't
station.
know the town that well. I just know I used to know how to get to my grandma's, and then like now I've been to the ski hill a few times, and um that is really small world that you were right there.
Yeah, lived in Collingwood for a while. It was a nice wee town, and one of my good friends, she lived in Wasaga, and we just hang out a lot in Collingwood.
Man, it's a small world, dude. You're in New
Oh, the
Zealand
world's
right
tiny.
now in a hostel and disabled bathroom. So what is living life like there in that hostel? You got a roommate in your room and that's why you're in the toilet?
I'm sharing a dorm room with like 8 people right now, like
8?
bunk beds in a dorm room. Yeah.
Um, are they all right then? You getting along?
Oh, there's some really nice people. Like the hostel I'm in is very. You get some hostels that aren't, well, I would say long-term hostels, and some you'd say are more like your short-term. You stay for 2, 3 nights, but here there's a lot of people that are working in the city and staying long-term. And for me, obviously, moving to the city, I kind of living in a hostel is the cheapest option going. And I also just really, I do enjoy living and being in a hostel. I review hostels and like travel articles for my own website called Loser Travels. And I enjoy the hostel.
Did
It's
you
good,
say
it's good
loser
time.
loser travels is your website?
Yeah,
Loser
loser
travels?
travels. Yeah.
Well, you're no loser talking to you, sir. You know what you're
I
doing.
appreciate that. I took that from a, I took it like a reclaiming the word because in high school I felt like a massive loser and was took a lot of shit from people, and then and I kind of reclaimed it as my own fun thing. Like I think it's a badge of honor because the losers always become the winners at the end of the day because the losers learn more. The winners
I
who that win all the time don't learn as much.
well, yeah, you have to lose to win, but there are people that lose and don't have the same I don't know what the word is. Personality, not personality, but like um the way to turn it into a positive, to look at it as a glass half full. Um there there's people that, you know, aren't cool in high school, but and they can't
Yeah,
get out of that funk. They can't get out of there. And you seem to have found yourself and what you're about and what you want to do. And
yeah, definitely.
you seem to look at life as a glass half full, which I think is hockey. It's like my team lost a devastating loss, and I'm trying to figure out how to turn that into, well, we lost that one, but at the end of the year, we're going to win the big one, you know?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And it's just it's how you bounce back. And I like to say I'm the most negative, optimistic person going
And then
for the
every
best of all.
and then that and everybody should be themselves unless you're an asshole, right?
Oh, 100%. Definitely. Just my one rule in life, when everyone says, "What's your type of person?" I'm just like, as long as you're not a dick or like a racist or a homophobe, you're just a decent person. That's my type. Just be a nice person. That's all I care about.
Man, you talking my language, you know?
Yeah.
I
And also, you got to
totally
be achieving and
agree with
improving.
you. I totally agree with
Yeah.
you. And that's I don't know. That's the Shed family. That's what we're about. And if anybody's about anything else, then they could come talk to me before they want to listen to me talk in my shed again, right?
Oh, make your own like seminar class, Wally's guide to being a good person.
Well, I mean, no, but like it's weird because when I was a hockey player, I was asked to kindly leave some places because I didn't want to work out all the time. I didn't want to do all the extra stuff. I didn't want to do this, but it's like, well, I want to take the fellas out for beers after practice, and I want to have a Halloween party. I want to have a Christmas party. I want to have Monday fun day. I want to make hockey fun, and I want all my teammates to think it's fun. And those people that I was making that happen for are now the bosses. And
Yeah,
it changes everything. That it's like if you make life fun, if you make doing what you're doing fun, whether it's digging a hole, and I've heard this from Sheffield Steelers, where it's like we could dig a hole together and it's fun because we're all together. And that's what a
yeah,
team needs is no matter what you're doing it together and you can make it fun, you know?
exactly. You always need the good person. There's always going to be somebody that will keep everyone together. And at the end of the day, you want to think back about all the fun times you had. Instead of being like, oh, that one time I was in the gym. Oh, fantastic! Did all those reps. You're not going to things like that. You're going to think about all the fun times, and you want to look back like, oh, I think the main reason I started traveling a lot and got into it is I was an awkward 17-year-old, left school, just turned 18, uh, moved, and then as soon as it was like my Divas dance at prom, I went to America for my summer camp to coach roller hockey. And that completely changed my life, and I was never really the most social. I didn't come out my shell, and then from there, came out my shell was when I came back after that 2 months in the States, and everyone was like, oh, if I was 10 years younger, I would have loved to have done what you've done. And it just got me thinking, like, in 10 years' time, like, it's coming up to 10 years this year, actually, since that summer. I was like, in 10 years' time, do I want to think about, oh, I wish I did all these things. I wish I went to this place. I wish that I tried that awful horse milk in Kyrgyzstan. Or do I want to sit there and be like, oh, I did do these things. Like, oh, I did have that thing. Oh, I did get stranded a bit at one point. I met that person. I saw that random hockey game in Latvia. I saw this thing happen. I saw that thing happen. You want to think more like that, and that's what you've done. You've made yourself memories, and now you get to be living on your podcast. You've got everyone that you went to Western Michigan too. I mean, or Sundaryuski. I love when you say that. I'm in the
Uh,
middle of the street saying that all the time. Like, it pops me every time. You got the memories from there, and you made the fun times happen. That's what matters more than in the long run. What matters more than if you did get to play a game in the show, or if you did get to make hundreds of money. If you did, got your jersey retired, and Biedenheim. It's more important stuff is that you've had fun at the end of the day, I guess. From
um,
a non-hockey player perspective.
honestly, there's a lot to what you said there too, because I'm digging what you're saying, and I didn't know how this was gonna go without any notes, but I mean, I'm competitive. I'm like you, and I I didn't know that many people. I'm a loyal guy. I'm who I am. When I got to Bietigheim, I thought I had found my place. I thought that was it. I wish it would have gone better, but that's on me too. I know that. You get what you put into things and what you get out. And anyways, it's interesting on this side of the game, but like good people are everywhere. People have said that to me. And
Yeah,
it's like when you just randomly reach out to me when I'm just some random dude talking in a shed and you're like, I've listened to you in all these countries, and I'm like, man, you're interesting. You're not driving on the same roads as everybody else. You're not
nah,
driving down the highway, driving the same speed as everybody else, or in a rush to go and pass everybody to get to the next place. You're living your life. And uh,
yeah,
I appreciate that because for me, like, it's sad around here because winter's come and most of my favorite roads are closed. Like there's no winter
yeah,
maintenance on them, so I can't drive down the roads that like I can be myself. You know?
yeah. But I appreciate that. That means a lot. It means a lot. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Right, no problem, sir.
But not to talk
Well,
about then, it's like 27 degrees here in New Zealand in summer, and it's
it's
boiling hot.
it's summer there right now.
Yeah, it's summer down here. They're like, no, it's not hemisphere, it's summer, winter's just like,
Well, I know you lost your gal there that brought you into the hockey game, but I hope you never lose it, and it doesn't sound like you will, because once it bites you, the hockey bug's got you, and it sometimes doesn't feel that good, but it's quite the family you can put together. Um,
yeah.
you know?
And like, I've still got my mum that me and her always talk hockey together. So no matter where I am in the world, if people who've never heard the game, like I remember when I was in Indonesia, I was in waiting to get a boat in Bali, and some guy come over to me was trying to sell me something. He saw us watching a hockey game and was just like, "What's that?" And I just ended up showing this guy hockey. But I've always got my mum to talk shop with and talk hockey with. Like, what is culture? She just tell me like one of the hockey or like the times I've called her that time game. We just talk shop about hockey. I tell her about the Penguins games, especially on like how the Penguins are doing, and
Well, and
she gets
hockey
on the
guys
insights
are
of the fan games.
hockey people are hockey people, and they wanna talk hockey, and
Yeah,
that's what I want, and that's what I love, and um yeah, bringing one memory back that just came up though was like, sometimes you don't realize what you've done, and this can be for if there's any hockey players still listening to this episode, here you go. I got back. I kept all my hockey stuff in bins in the garage. I didn't pull out anything. I It was time to move on. It was time to do something else. I buried who I was. I buried what I was about. I tried to move on and be somebody else. and you have to be yourself. You have to do
Yeah,
what you want. And I start the shed because of this deep drive in me to see my friends and, you know, and then it came to a point where I brought out the stuff out of the bins and then I set it all up in the shed, and like the shed looks like it does now with all the jerseys and the trophies, and like there are more in bins, but it's like I'm myself again.
yeah,
I am the same 5 or 6 year old kid that wanted to be a hockey guy. I went out there, I did it, and there is nothing to be embarrassed about. You didn't fail. You did the best you could, and you did everything you could,
yeah.
right? It's the same
Snap
as
to you for
losing.
that.
It's the
You did a
same
good
as
job
losing the
anyway.
game, right? It's the same as losing the
Yeah,
game. Maybe I didn't make the NHL. Maybe I didn't make the money I wanted, but I did go out and do it, you know?
yeah. It's not to you. You killed it.
Wow.
Like it's not to you. You killed it. You did just get a great career, and you got to live the dream of so many different Canadians that will never get to live the dream. You did it your own way. And you lost yourself, but sometimes you gotta. It's like tidying your room. Sometimes you have to like make your room messy to then make it clean again. But you have to like make it even more messy to then get it clean.
Well, and what I've found in the real world and this world is you have to make your bed, and when you make your bed the way you want it, and if when you can get things set up and all your ducks in a row, um life can be pretty swell.
Yeah. Again, as long as you're having fun, that's the main thing. And it can get like a good kebab down at the same time too. Don't forget a good kebab. You need a good kebab down there. A good kebab on your
Yeah.
pizza on
You just keep your hands to yourself down there. Stop playing with your tallywhacker, okay? You're
nah,
making
sorry,
noise down there.
nah, I'm a very fidgety person. I do apologize.
No,
Very
it's
fidgety
all
person.
good. But thank you for making the time. And I've never been to a hostel in New Zealand in the disabled toilet, so thank you for making the time. I better cook
No, it's a
dinner,
blast.
and
Absolute blast.
this has been fun, and it's going to be out soon. And I hope you have a great day in New Zealand, and I'll be here in Canada doing my job. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to do this again whenever. It was absolute blast. And send my regards to Chris Frank. When I was 17, I did some filming for him when I went to get filmed. Fuck, I'm
That's a
so bad about how trash it was. But he is the nicest guy in the whole world and my all-time favorite clan player. He's the nicest man in the world. So
I
send my
know.
regards to him. He's an absolute legend.
He it,
He was just so sound with me when I was 17.
he's the nicest guy on the ice until you play against him.
Oh, but that's what it is. The nicest guys are always off the ice, are always the worst on the ice.
He was a disaster on the ice. He was the meanest guy
Oh,
ever. Yes. I like memorable stuff because I play against a lot of mean guys. He was memorably mean, you know?
oh yeah, he was nuts out there, and being a clan fan at the time, during that height of the Fife clan rivalry with like Nixon and Frankie going at it all the time, which is legendary.
I
He's one of the biggest icons in the history of the clan, and also very underrated. Like the way he would break up the rush was stick was fantastic. He did not get enough credit for that.
well
His like defensive
just
stick play was so good.
just remember though, like so I had my puppies with the Sugar Kings where I was like the old guy and doing well,
Yeah,
and I tried to raise my puppies right. And then I got to Western Michigan and I become a senior and I tried to raise my puppies right. He's one of my puppies. And now that I'm doing it as like a coach, I love it. And I don't think I'm done making shed guys like Chris Frank. I think I'm just getting started.
yeah. And you don't know the impact you will have on kids. Like I've worked with kids for like 9 years, and you can have such a huge impact on kids. It's unbelievable. Like just by
You
the
can make them
smallest,
you
the
can make
smallest
them
thing.
hockey people or not hockey people based on how much they like
Exactly.
hockey.
Exactly that. And the fact to let them cut your hair off is a testament to you that you want to do everything right for them. And like I've done a lot for kids. Some some interesting stories working with kids, but I'll never let this touch my hair. Not a chance.
You
Not touch my hair.
do the
I think
best
mine for this. Oh,
do the best you can every time, and yeah, that's all you can do in hockey, right? And I better
yeah.
get back to the real world there, Swarky. You know?
Swankie. But Swarky's good enough.
Swarky.
Yeah,
Jeepers, it's
when you got that
Swanky.
training, you
Holy
take any
moly.
variation of Swankie you get.
I guess we just met each other, eh?
Yeah, nah, don't worry about it. With my name, the
And
amount of spellings and variations you can think of with Swankie is unbelievable.
there's the notes for today, folks. That is the intro here. That was done in 4 minutes. These are the notes, and then we talked since. And that is just shed people being shed people, right?
I appreciate it. If you guys try to talk to people, people are great. You can talk to anyone. I got the gift of the gab, you got the gift of the gab, may as well use it.
No, seriously, great getting to know you, sir.
And
And
that's great to know you.
keep traveling the world, keep doing your thing, keep having fun, and let's get to 100 together. Takes everybody
Oh,
to win.
sure. Next time I'm in Canada, I'll hit you up. I need to go back. I do like 5 years now, so I need to head back to Canada soon.
Okay. Stay in touch, sir. And hey,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
owe me 6 to 10 poster pics, so hopefully you can find some cool countries and stuff to put on there. So Lee Freeman
I've
can put those
got
on there. We got to make a
I never
poster for
planned for the
this.
afternoon.
Okay?
Oh, sweet. I never got a plan for the afternoon then. Happy
There,
days.
there you go. Find the best pictures you can for your poster, and we'll send them to Lee Freeman, Freeman Designs, that did just make the programs for the Continental Cup and does them for Cardiff and Sheffield, I think, still. And keep being you, keep doing your thing and having fun and
Yeah.
enjoying life. And send me your pictures. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales out of the blue with Swankie and Wally.